I was replacing a section of crown molding in the third-floor hallway when I heard my wife's voice echo up from the lobby. Sharp. Certain. Cruel. You'll never amount to anything, Jerome. That's just reality. She didn't know I was there. Didn't know I owned the building. Didn't know the marble she stood on, the brass fixtures she leaned against, the entire 12-story structure generating $340,000 in annual revenue. All mine. Let me back up. My name is Jerome Mitchell. I'm 36 years old, and I fix things. HVAC systems, electrical panels, plumbing that's been leaking since 1987. I wear Dickies work pants with permanent grease stains and steel-toed Red Wings that have seen better decades. I drive a 2006 Chevy Silverado with 214,000 miles and a toolbox that weighs more than most people's furniture. I met Simone at her sister's wedding 7 years ago. I was there fixing the venue's backup generator. Summer storm had knocked out power an hour before the ceremony. She found me in the utility room, dress shoes clicking on concrete, looking annoyed that someone in coveralls existed in her sideline. How much longer? She asked. 3 minutes. You're sure? I flipped the switch. The lights came on. String quartet started playing. She blinked. Oh, 3 minutes, I said. She laughed. 3 months later, we were dating. She was an executive assistant at a wealth management firm, $72,000 a year, corner of the glass tower downtown. I made her feel grounded, she said. Real. A nice change from the corporate phonies. We married 2 years later. Small ceremony, $8,500 total, which I paid for. We moved into a modest brick bungalow on the south side that I'd bought for $185,000 cash. She assumed there was a mortgage. I never mentioned there wasn't. Here's what Simone never knew. My uncle, Raymond Mitchell, died when I was 28. No kids. No wife. Just me and a will that transferred ownership of 4 commercial properties in Chicago's Bronzeville neighborhood, purchased between 1994 and 2003 when nobody wanted them. Total value at transfer, $4.2 million. Uncle Raymond's lawyer, a man named Carl Hobbs who smelled like pipe tobacco and old books, handed me the deed folder in his office that smelled the same way. Your uncle had one request, Carl said. Don't tell anyone for 5 years. He wanted you to know who stays when they think you're nobody. I honored that. Kept working maintenance jobs. Kept the truck. Kept my mouth shut while the properties appreciated and the rental income rolled in quarterly. $28,000, like clockwork, deposited into an account Simone never saw. She stayed, but differently over time. Started making comments. About the truck. Can't you get something newer? Just lease something. Anything. About my work. You're almost 40, Jerome. Don't you want to do something more? About money. We should be further along by now. We were further along. She just couldn't see it. Last month, she started working late. New project, she said. Big client, demanding hours. I noticed new clothes. Expensive haircuts, $280 at a salon in River North. Perfume I didn't recognize, $150 a bottle. I checked. I wasn't suspicious. I was paying attention. On a Tuesday, I was replacing a busted pipe in our basement when her laptop chimed with a message. She'd left it open on the kitchen counter. I wasn't planning to look, but the name caught me. Darius. Darius, can't wait to see you tonight. Told my wife I have a late meeting. Simone, same. Jerome's working anyway. He won't notice. Darius, still think you should leave him. You deserve someone on your level. Simone, soon. Once I get the promotion. Can't afford to split assets until I'm making 6 figures. I stood there, wrench in hand, water dripping somewhere behind the walls. I screenshotted everything. 23 messages. Plans for trips. Complaints about my dead-end job and lack of ambition. A photo of them at a restaurant I couldn't afford on my supposed salary. $340 for 2, according to her expensed receipt. I called Carl Hobbs. It's time. You sure? Yeah. I'll draft everything. Illinois law is on your side. Assets acquired before marriage stay yours. I hung up. Went back to fixing the pipe. The work steadied me. Turn the wrench, tighten the joint, test the pressure. Simple problems with simple solutions. Simone came home at midnight, smelling like wine and someone else's cologne. How was work? I asked. Exhausting. She kicked off her heels. This client is impossible. Yeah. Total micromanager. But if I land this, I'm getting promoted. 6-figure salary, Jerome. Finally. That's great, baby. She looked at me like I was furniture. I'm going to bed. I waited until Thursday. Then I made my move. I had Carl serve her the divorce papers at her office, 3 p.m., in front of her entire team. Professional courtesy. My phone exploded with calls. I declined every one. At 6 p.m., I drove to the building on King Drive, the nicest of the 4 properties, Art Deco facade, marble lobby, 12 floors of office and retail space. I had work to do anyway. Crown molding on 3, temperamental radiator on 7. That's when Simone found me. She must have tracked my phone. She was good at that. I heard her heels before I saw her, clicking across the marble lobby like gunshots. I was on the ladder, measuring a section of damaged molding, when her voice cracked through the space. Jerome. I didn't turn around. Just mark my measurement. Pencil behind my ear, the way Uncle Raymond taught me. We need to talk. Now. I'm working. You're always working. That's the problem. She stopped at the base of the ladder. What the hell is this? She waved the divorce papers. For $1 million? You're claiming you own 4 buildings. I do own them. That's impossible. You're a maintenance worker. I'm a building engineer. And a property owner. Both things are true. A man in a suit crossed the lobby, nodded at me. Evening, Mr. Mitchell. Radiator on 7 is acting up again. I'll check it after this. The man left. Simone stared. Mr. Mitchell? Her voice climbed. He called you Mr. Mitchell. That's my name. He called you. Like you own. She looked around. Really looked. At the restored brass railings. The original terrazzo floors I'd spent 6 months refinishing. The directory board listing 23 businesses, all paying rent. This building, I said. I own it. Bought in 2014 for $890,000. Worth about $2.1 million now. Her mouth opened. Nothing came out. Also own the one on 47th. The one on Cottage Grove. The one near the red line. I climbed down, folded the ladder. Uncle Raymond left them to me 8 years ago. Carl Hobbs handled the transfer. You met Carl at our wedding. You said his bow tie was quirky. You lied to me. I never lied. You assumed. I let you. That's the same thing. No. Lying is active. I was just quiet. I picked up my toolbox. You want to talk about lies? Let's discuss Darius. She went pale. How do you? Your laptop. Last Tuesday. 23 messages. Restaurant receipts. Hotel in Evanston, $340 a night. Last weekend when you said you were at a work retreat. Jerome, that was... I can explain. You said I'd never amount to anything. I looked at her directly. You said it to him. In a message. You said, Jerome's sweet, but he'll never amount to anything. I need someone who matches my ambition. I was venting. I didn't mean, you meant it. That's fine. You're entitled to your opinion. I started toward the elevator. You're just not entitled to my property. She followed. This isn't fair. I stayed with you. I supported you. You tolerated me. Different thing. The elevator doors opened. I stepped in. She rushed in after me, frantic now. We can fix this. Counseling. I'll end things with Darius. Complete fresh start. Why would I want that? Because we're married. 7 years, Jerome. That has to mean something. It meant something when you thought I was your safety net. Your backup plan until you found someone better. I pressed the button for 7. Now it means paperwork. I love you. You love the idea of not being alone. Not the same. The elevator climbed. She was crying now, makeup running, the polished exterior cracking. What do you want? Money? I'll give you money. My 401k, my savings, whatever. I don't want your money. I have money. Then what? The doors opened on 7. I stepped out into the hallway that smelled like radiator heat and old wood. I want you to understand something, I said. You looked at me every day and saw a dead end. A guy in work boots who'd never be more than his uniform. You never asked about my day. Never wondered why I owned a house with no mortgage, or how I paid for our wedding in cash, or why I was never stressed about money. I thought you seemed happy with simple. I am happy with simple. But simple doesn't mean stupid. And it definitely doesn't mean worthless. I walked to the problem radiator. She stood in the hallway, shaking. You'll never amount to anything, I said quietly. That's what you told Darius. In the lobby of my building. The one generating $8,000 a month in rent. The irony is pretty thick. Jerome, please, you have 60 days. That's in the papers. After that, you need to be out of my house. Your house? I live there. You live in a house I bought 8 years ago, before we met. Illinois law is clear. Carl's got documentation going back to the deed transfer. Her phone rang. She ignored it. It rang again. That's probably Darius, I said. His wife got copies of the messages too. I'm helpful like that. You're destroying my life. I'm just being honest. Finally, you should try it sometime. I knelt by the radiator, pulled my wrench, started working. She stood there for a long time. I heard her breathing, heard her trying to form words. Finally, she left, heels clicking away down the hall, fainter and fainter, until the elevator doors closed and she was gone. The radiator was an easy fix. Valve seat worn down, simple replacement. 20 minutes, problem solved. I worked until midnight. Fixed the radiator. Rehung the crown molding. Replaced a flickering light fixture on 9. Small problems. Methodical solutions. My building. My rules. My silence. When I left, the lobby was empty and perfect. Marble gleaming. Brass polished. Everything in its place. The 60 days moved like Chicago winter, slow, cold, inevitable. Simone hired a lawyer, a young woman named Patricia Chun, who charged $400 an hour and called Carl twice before admitting there was nothing to contest. Your husband's documentation is airtight. I heard her tell Simone on a call I wasn't supposed to hear. Assets acquired before marriage. Clear title. Separate accounts. Illinois isn't community property. I'm sorry. Simone moved out on a Saturday in February. I was working, reinforcing support beams in the Cottage Grove property's basement. She texted, taking the bedroom set and the dining table. They were gifts from my mother. They were from IKEA. I'd assembled them myself. But I didn't argue. When I came home, the house felt right for the first time in years. My furniture, my space, my silence, without judgment hanging in it. I ordered Harold's chicken, $14.75 with extra mild sauce. Ate it watching a documentary about the Monadnock building, and slept 10 hours straight. The divorce finalized in April. Simone got her 401k in savings, about $52,000 total. I kept everything else. Carl sent the final decree with a note. Your uncle would be proud. You learned the lesson. I framed it, hung it in my office, next to Uncle Raymond's photo. Work continued. The properties needed constant attention. A burst pipe on 47th, foundation settling near the red line, HVAC upgrade on King Drive. I hired a property manager, a sharp woman named Diana who'd managed the Palmer house for 15 years before going independent. You're underselling yourself, she said during our first meeting, reviewing my rental rates. These units should be going for 20% more, minimum. I like keeping rents fair. My tenants stay longer. She smiled. Your uncle taught you that. He taught me a lot. By summer, all 4 buildings were running smooth. 98% occupancy. Waiting list for the retail spaces. The property values had climbed. Total portfolio worth $5.7 million now, and I'd barely touched them. I started teaching. Trades program at Dawson Technical College, Tuesday and Thursday evenings. Basic building systems. How to read a blueprint. How to see what's hidden. Most people look at walls, I told my students, and just see walls. You need to see the studs behind them, the wiring, the pipes, the bones. A kid named Marcus, 22, skinny, eager, raised his hand. How do you learn that? Time, patience, paying attention when everyone thinks you're not. After class, Marcus walked me to my truck. Mr. Mitchell, can I ask you something? Sure. You own buildings, right? I heard someone say that. 4 of them, but you still do maintenance work. What? I loaded my toolbox into the truck bed. Because the work matters. Because I like solving problems. Because knowing how things work from the inside makes you better at everything else. That make you happy? I thought about it. Yeah, it does. He nodded. Cool. I drove home through neighborhoods I knew like breath. Past the building on King Drive, lights glowing warm in the spring dusk. Past the house I'd bought when I was 26 with money nobody knew I had. I was pulling into my driveway when I saw her. Simone, sitting on my front steps, looking smaller than I remembered. I sat in the truck for a moment, then got out. What are you doing here? I needed to say something. She stood. She'd lost weight. Looked tired. I got fired. Darius's wife filed a complaint about the affair. HR investigated. They let us both go. I'm sorry to hear that. No, you're not. You're right. I'm not. She nodded. Accepted it. I've been thinking. About what you said. About seeing you as a dead end. Okay. You were right. I looked at you and saw limitations. I saw the truck and the work boots and thought that was all there was. She wiped her eyes. I was raw. And I'm sorry. The apology sat between us. Honest, finally. Too late, but honest. I appreciate that, I said. Is there any chance, any possibility, we could try again? Real honesty this time. Real partnership. I looked at her. Really looked. Checked the foundation for cracks, the structure for integrity. Saw exactly what was there. No, I said. Just no. 7 years, Simone. You never asked what I did all day. Never asked about my family, my history, where I came from. You built a version of me that fit your narrative and stopped looking. I see you now. You see the buildings. That's not the same as seeing me. She started to argue. Stopped. What do I do now? Same thing I did. Figure out who you are when nobody's watching. Build something that matters to you, not your audience. I don't know how. Start small. Pay attention. Fix what's broken. I walked past her to my door. She didn't follow. Jerome. I turned. For what it's worth, I really am sorry. I know. Good luck, Simone. I went inside. She stood on the steps for a while longer, then left. I made coffee in Uncle Raymond's old percolator. Sat in my living room with blueprints for a new project. A 5th building, 1920s warehouse in Pilsen, structural gold mine if you knew how to look. My phone buzzed. Diana. Offer accepted on Pilsen property. Congratulations, Mr. Mitchell. I smiled. Outside, the city hummed. Trains on distant tracks. Neighbors coming home. Life moving forward, steady and certain. I pulled out my pencil. Started marking measurements, planning renovations, seeing what nobody else could see yet. Some men need witnesses. Need someone to validate their success, applaud their wins. I just needed to know I built something solid. Something that held weight. Something real. I had. And I was just getting started.